All right. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Awesome. We will be getting started in just a second. Hi, Tuco. Is it Tuco or Zuko? Which one? I've heard you pronounce both ways. Either? You're not picky? All right. Give me just one moment and we will get started. I actually have a guest with me today. We're giving it just 1 minute here, and then I will be ready to go. I'm getting my partner in crime in chat and getting everything set up. Thank you for your patience. All right. I am ready to begin. I believe my friend is ready to begin as well. Let me kick this music down just a little bit. For those of you who don't know, I am D, or Obsidian, or Cerithia. I go by many names because I've been playing this game and its prequels for entirely too long, or just long enough.
My name is Super Cutie.
I have been playing EverQuest since 2000 and EverQuest 2 since 2004, with breaks here and there, but my account has been consistent through the entire time, and I am absolutely enchanted with the lore and the story and the histories of the game. I am silly passionate about it, and I am a giant nerd. And those are the only credentials I have, is that I am a giant nerd. So you should take everything I say with a grain of salt. I usually like to try to quote my sources and things like that. But remember that it's just me coming up with theories. And I am joined today by my lovely friend Kiki. If you want to introduce yourself.
I am Kiki. I'm Kiki. I'm been on AB since 2009, and I haven't turned back. All my characters are on AB, and I met Lore Warned here, D, about 4 or 5 years ago now.
No, it's more than that. No. It's getting closer to 10 years, honey.
Oh yeah, no, cause you, okay, the girl's got a lot of alts, and I don't always remember. But we've interacted in the past before we were like formally introduced a few years ago.
No. A few years ago, I know COVID's, blending all your times together, but it's been a long time. We have been friends for getting closer to a decade than not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I got the as you get older, your telomeres just
I'm not buying that from you.
Okay. It's fine.
One of the things that Kiki is not going to say, because she is terribly bad at bragging upon herself, is that she is an amazing artist. Each week I'm going to feature an artist on my stream. That was a suggestion that I got from people in EQ1, and I think it's a great idea. Instead of just having a big black thing covering my chat box, I'm going to feature a different artist. And so this week I am featuring Kiki, because she's here with me, and she's amazing. So you'll see a link to her Instagram, or her Instagram name and her Patreon name. She does a little bit of everything. She does commissions, so she does different artwork of characters, and she does t-shirts galore. She is queen of memes, and she did a phenomenal Enoric shirt. I love it. And she does like battle maps and things like that for D&D. So you should totally check her out when I put that on screen in just a little bit. And today we're going to be discussing the latest game update, Toil and Trouble. Kind of going over the lore that's in it. A lot of people don't think there's much lore in it, but I think that there's a lot more than they think. And what it might mean for us in the upcoming expansion. You can reach out to me if you have comments, questions, things you want featured. You can talk about it in chat. You can send me a message on Discord. You can send me a tell in-game. I actually will be in-game on both EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2 during the stream. Right now, I am on Cerithia, on Antonia Bale. That's spelled Xyrithia. Or you can send me a tell on Obsidian, Obzidian, on Zigany in EverQuest. And without further ado, we'll start talking about the topic at hand.
I'll log in and join you.
Okay, good, because there might be loot that you can get from the solo instance.
Yeah.
Let me pull up my notes. Okay, so the game update came to us, and we really at first didn't get much information. All we got was, in the Loping Plains village of Somborn, a society of secretive witches and warlocks, known as the Dreadfell Coven, have opened a portal to the Eridan experimental labs of Vasty Deeps, located somewhere within Ultera. The labs had long been a hidden temple for the amoral exploration of magic and science, as well as mutation and intelligent design, often performed on living creatures, and sometimes with monstrous results even after Otis's displacement. Driven by their incessant desire to expand their proficiency in the arcane, the Dreadfell Coven are on a quest for knowledge and items. Nothing is too foul or too holy for their interests. They are seekers of artifacts and knowledge with no respect for ownership or ethical usage. And now, this clandestine coven is in the middle of a raid upon the labs. It'll be up to you to seek out the enigmatic Darker Arcana to find out what adventures lay ahead. And we got a little video, so let me pause the music and we'll show the video for anybody who might not have seen it. And as I show the video, Kiki has been so kind as to volunteer to actually read the story that we got. Are you ready to do that?
I can read it, yeah, sure. I've really never learned to read. Oh. Let's see. Do you want it in common, or do you want it in Ratonganese?
Let's go with common for now.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start the video in the background, and it should hopefully be. Oh, ooh, that was way loud. Hold on.
Oh.
That about blew out my eardrums there, and I don't want to do that to anybody else. So let's see if we can turn that down.
By the way, Vasty Deep is super pretty. I love it forever. I've loved it since it came out.
It is.
Sentinel State ruled.
It is one of my absolute favorite zones in the game. Like, actually, all the zones in Vasty Deep were just completely gorgeous. Let's see if we turn Streamlabs down, if that'll do it. Alright. That is still really loud. Is it really loud for you guys listening when it goes live?
I don't hear anything yet.
Well, you won't necessarily. Oh. Well, unless you're watching the stream, which I guess you might be.
I am. Let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna let this play, and we'll see if it's too loud. If it's too loud, just let me know. Well, of course it would turn silent there. There wasn't anything particularly, it's just music in the background. So you didn't miss much. Yes. Go ahead and read our story, Kiki, if you would.
Are you in Somborn?
I am in Somborn.
Okay, it'll take a minute for me to load in because of the instance we were building last night.
Oh, yes. All right. I am going to... There we go. Now I've got the game up, and you can see some of Kiki's amazing artwork there. You can see the t-shirt that she made, which I own. That's a picture of my actual t-shirt. And you can see a drawing that she did of a D&D character, or at least part of it. And then you can see Kiki, the character, who is on Antonia Bale, who looks entirely adorable, which is simultaneously accurate and totally wrong because she is a Ratonga that worships Bertoxulus and, loves to deliver plagues upon everybody.
It's basically the worst thing that ever happened to Norath, next to Bertoxilus, so to speak.
No, next to not having all day breakfast.
Oh my god, you gotta have all day breakfast. That's her, like every so often she gets a thing that she fixates on. And, when taverns don't have all day breakfast, it's very upsetting. Very upsetting.
All right. Let me know when you are ready to read the story. I have a message.
Yeah, go ahead and send it. I'll read it.
I am sending that now and checking my Discord messages. One day I'm going to have yet another monitor, and then I will be able to have Discord open and the stream chat and everything else.
You need a wall of monitors.
No.
And then it'll be like the Avengers and only like few.
No. No, I need to be like the Matrix, right? There have been a million pictures of the Matrix and people playing EQ1.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, I will give a disclaimer to the beginning. Sometimes I get a little bit coughy, so I apologize. I will try not to do this. Okay. Alright. Hinges creak as the weathered wooden door to the small residence opens, breaking open the old woman's concentration. She had been working with this lost age text since midday, meticulously translating it. Now she looks up from the scroll that was rolled out across the desk in front of her to focus her good eye on the cloaked figure standing in her doorway, silhouetted by moonlight. Get in, for the gods want to buy. Good for taking bribes, bad for keeping secrets. The door closes gently behind the youthful woman, as if pushed by invisible hands, and she brushes some of the desert sand off her dress. I was not seen, Auntie Grim. No, not by the sky gazers either. Mm-hmm. You're looking refreshed, Sister Belladonna. Bit of hunting along the way? Beauty and a pinch of flirtation can open as many locks as magic, Belladonna says, with a wink towards the wrinkled and stooped woman. They both know the truth, though. She simply loves the feeling of being youthful again. Sure, a tonic can ease her aching bones, a balm might help to dull the fires in her joints, and the right tea can energize her for a span of time. But true youthfulness? It is a cure-all, wasted on the immature and underdeveloped. She is doing so much more with it than they would have. Being frail and feeble, that's what makes one invisible in this world. Can't see the power we tap, the knowledge within, too distracted with the remainder of their own mortality. Either way, they underestimate us at our peril. Isn't that right, Oopsie? At his mention, a vibrant blue frog with yellow spots on its back leaps off Belladonna's shoulder, where it had been hiding behind her bouncy cascade of ebony curls, and lands on her upturned palm. An effortless move for the woman and her beloved familiar. You didn't weather the burning seas to exchange idle chat, I hope. Auntie Grim clicks her tongue as if in punctuation. A cold fire lantern hanging behind a carved wooden screen answers, casting intricate shapes across the myriad of archaic and mysterious objects in the cluttered apartment. Belladonna picks up a golden femur, inlaid with elegant silver runes, and turns it over, attempting to act casual. Odelia did it, Belladonna said as she looks up from the bone, her eyes twinkling as she shares the news. She was right about Somborn. The erudite labs are now open to us. The ancient incantation and Envar rune worked. It wasn't a question, but Auntie Grim waited for Belladonna's acknowledgement. Yes, you were right, of course. They were the keys to opening a stable portal into Altera. Good. Now it's up to the Vodlax. If they succeed, Ballantree will get what she needs, and we will be one step closer. The end.
And there you have it. Yeah. It's a nice little hint at what's to come. And we then get a letter from Dr. Arcana. And give me 1 second. I'm pulling up. I have all this text saved. So the letter says, an opportunity has presented itself in Somborn, the village in Loping Plains, where someone has done the remarkable by opening a usable portal between Norath and a particularly interesting place in Ultera, steeped in magic and experimentation. Now, where they have opened a door, we can follow, but we must be quick. However, shrouded their goals that may be, their intrusion will be obvious, and it is sure to gain attention. This is a mission of disruption, elimination, and a bit of acquisition. I trust you are up to it. And then we show up in Loping Plains and go to talk to Dr. Arcana, who I am actually standing near right now. And he says, I see the hero I called for has finally taken the message to heart and shown up. Good. You really didn't provide much information to go by. I got here as soon as I could. That was intended. Too much information would have created speculation. I did not want that. I see. Inside this portal lies a temple of a moral exploration of magic, science, mutation, and intelligent design. The halls of Vasti Deep, the laboratory. I assume you are familiar with what I speak? I am. I have fought within those cursed halls before. I lost allies. I am aware. Currently, these halls are being invaded by a group known as the Dreadfell Coven, powerful witches and warlocks. They are there for nothing less than very important magical artifacts, and who knows what else. Do you know? That really isn't relevant, and we are on a very limited time frame. I need you, the hero, to storm this temple of arcane debauchery and retrieve, for me, some very important arcana. Do this, and you will be generously rewarded. What do you know of this Dreadfell Coven? They are dangerous and seem to embrace everything that the abandoned labs is a celebration of. I do not think I need to warn you. The current inhabitants of these halls are most assuredly more dangerous than their predecessors. Either way, it isn't a simple mission. I understand. I was sure you would. Always so sure of everything, are you? Indeed, Zarithia. Ultera awaits you. And then the quest text itself says, as I anticipated, Dr. Arcana is definitely out to benefit Dr. Arcana and only Dr. Arcana. I may have gotten myself into something I will regret, and I am pretty sure this Dreadfell Coven is going to pose a very large problem. Now to track down some magical burbles, baubles, and mayhem. This could also be fun. And that's all we get. Dr. Arcana himself is interesting to me because a lot of times people don't think that he is a significant character. They think that you can just disregard him. We're going to go ahead and invite Kiki here into the group. And I'm going to get his daily quest because we're actually going to go into the labs. Let me know when you've got his daily quest. And awesome. I should probably reset my instance, huh? So there's a couple things about Dr. Arcana that I find particularly interesting. First of all, everybody assumes that he is an erudite. He is not. He does not actually look like an erudite, either the old school ones or the new school ones. He has, if you do the command to determine his race, he's a human. And we first encounter him in the Plains of Prophecy in the Colosseum of Valor, and then in Myrist, and then, which is the Plane of Knowledge, and then the Elemental Planes. I think he's from the Aetherneer, and I'll show you why in a bit. And this is the first time he's actually sent us after a particular set of people, a particular foe. So we're going to kind of touch on the clues and hints now. So these are werewolves, obviously. But does anybody know what kind of werewolf they are?
The canine kind?
uh,
Oh, shoot, mimic. Freaking mimic.
They're always there to scare you. Oh, it helps if I actually cast my buffs, huh? So these are not your standard werewolves, and as you fight them, you can see you actually will get bitten and will be transformed. They are a type of werewolf called the Lyjan. I'm probably butchering the phrasing there, but those werewolves were the werewolves that it seems like predated elves. If you look at some of the information about the unkempt druids, they were around, and they're most familiar to us because we see them with Drenal when we go into the Aetherneer. So again, we have a human.
But they do kind of look like Drenal, don't they?
Yeah.
Because of the ears, I think.
They're the
There's kids.
they're the werewolves made by Drenal, actually. Yeah. They would be wolfmen rather than just werewolves, right? And Vodlak is a family that is in the Dreadfell Coven. And so here we've got our first one, Palovina, which I'm assuming is a play on Pavlov and Pavlov's dogs. I don't know that one for certain, but you know, I'm just gonna assume that I'm right, because she also turns into a werewolf, but she uses a curse to do it, which is interesting because the curse of werewolves.
Where is it?
Oh, nope, no. You were in it. You got. She switched it on you.
Why? This is a funny
Oh, I've got the wrong things. I got the wrong things loaded. Remind me to change my conduits once we're done with her, because otherwise she'd already be dead.
That's fine. Let's give them a shot.
We're pew-pewing her and them. But here she is, transformed into a Lugin, or the Drenalian werewolves. The other werewolves that we know of are come from the Underfoot. They worshipped they called her Wuria, Wuria, the Wurine, and this comes from EverQuest 1, where we go into the Underfoot, and they are where we get werewolves on Norath. You know, the bitten werewolves on Norath. Because basically humans broke into the Underfoot and encountered the Wurine werewolves and got bitten, and that is where we get the lycanthropes. And that's part of why we see them out in Loping Plains too, is because down in the Underfoot, in Dark Hollow, that's where Mayong Mistmore lived for a while, and he actually made a deal with some of the werewolves to serve him. And so the Wuria or Wurine werewolves are the werewolves that are more like a curse. They're the ones who, transform at night and things like that, which is why they look different. So when we go back out to Loping Plains, I will show you guys how they look different. So as we are going through here, we want to look around. So for instance, there are Thulians, right? And these Thulians are clearly allied with the Dreadfell Coven.
Did you do your conduit?
I did. I remembered.
That's good, because I sure didn't.
The Dreadfell Coven clearly has some kind of agreement or association with one of the Thuls, presumably Kazakh Thul, but it could also be Terrace Thul. The daily quest, let's see if I can pop this open, has us look at some different items. Let me switch to the correct tab.
Oh, shiny.
But is it Chrome?
It could possibly be, because they're gnomish goggles.
That is true. Our first item today is Fulminations and Curses, and it's over here. And so let me go ahead and pop up. Yeah. Yeah, for once we are actually both on the same quest. Alright, let's see.
That is a lot of blood. That is an entire person's worth of blood. Many blood.
Much blood.
Yeah.
Alright. So, you guys should be seeing some of the items right now. So as we look over the different items that we're getting here, again, most people just kind of chalk that up to being part of just a standard quest and everything. But if I have learned anything playing EverQuest in the past, 2 decades and change, it's never dismiss stuff like that. It's always more than just a quest item. And the things that I see about this that are interesting is, if you notice, there's a lot of stuff that's maps, right? Mysterious maps, confounded maps, infernal maps, things like that. We also have books of curses. So you've got the Fulminations and Curses, which is what Kiki and I just had. But there's also another book, Hexes and Invectives, excuse me. I'm fighting the name I'm trying to read. We also have Cursed Paintings, Blooded Slayers, the Dark Secrets of Obloquy are there as well, as another book. We've got lab equipment, which you would kind of expect, right? You'd expect to have some lab equipment there. But I would not necessarily expect to be after the arrows and the different weapons. The other thing is that we get a cursed orrery. So that's it's a special way of looking at Norath's constellations. And I say that it's a special way because it's not like a typical globe. If you look at it, that's this one right here.
It's in the Tower of the Moon in Majdu.
No, it's not that one. It's the one from when we went to Sentinel's Fate. And that one is different because it doesn't show it doesn't show actual Norath. If you look at it, that's not a true image of Norath. I think what it might be is something of a planar version. But I'm not positive.
So basically, it's like the new Spider-Man movie where everything's canon.
I was like, I don't know. Maybe. I will have to admit that I have not seen the most recent Spider-Man.
Ignore what I said then.
So, I'll get to that. I'm behind.
What it was, so it's kind of not spoiled. Alright. Okay. Good job.
It's okay, I would have forgotten anyway by the time I had seen it. We also find some enchanted paintings, and those paintings are also kind of interesting. An enchanted painting, you hear the horse galloping and the rattle of the knight's armor coming from this painting. A golden enchanted globe. We don't know what kind of magic is there. A cursed mirror. We can stare into it, but it doesn't seem to do anything. That one in and of itself is interesting because can anybody tell me where the other cursed mirror in the game is?
Hogwarts.
No. No Hogwarts.
Shoot.
You can cuss. I don't give a damn.
Okay. Ooh. What? Damn it!
Another mimic. Serena Siltor. Serena Siltor used cursed mirrors.
Oh yeah.
And she disappeared at Lannis got taken to task. And she another
Mimic
where?
against the wall here.
Wow.
Oh poops.
That's okay. He's gonna die. He's gonna die.
It's okay.
We also have a Fire Mage's remains, but they're actually cold. There are unknown ciphers on some of those maps. There are wicked Akashic spells. So if we go... Does anybody know what the Akashic refers to? Before I just say it.
That word tickles my noggin, but I cannot place it.
The Akashic Never There. It is part of the Mage Epic Quests for Mage 2.0, I believe it is. And in addition to that, the Akashic Never There is where Belanger... No, don't die. You didn't. Belanger the Three had his personal sanctum. And if we remember, Belanger the Three was involved with the Void. And Toil Novelix in the plane of justice sends us to him with a package, and we never know what's in that package. And Belanger is not all that far from Ballantree. And Belanger is a human. Which is important.
You've still got all that stuff up on the screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We also have a golden obelisk, right? So again, something associated with death. So you see a lot of stuff that is, you see wicked stuff, corrupted stuff, hateful stuff. So we're seeing hate. We're seeing fear. We're seeing potentially nightmares, curses, infernal, right? Which, you know, usually refers to like hell. But in this game tends to refer to things like the plane of hate. Any of the evil planes, basically.
Okay. Note to self: stay near your construct.
Yes. Stay near the pool of blood.
Now I know why I died. I was the pool of blood.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull us back over to the screen so you guys can see as we dash through this, and I can put my notes back up. I'm getting better at this whole OBS thing. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting better.
Process.
Also, when we zone in, you have the names of the places. So it's the Abomination Factorium. So it sounds like they were creating abominations here. Specifically undead abominations. The Odious Observatorium. The Mezzanine of Malfeasance. The Aura of Decay that you experience in the middle is from a decomposed dragon that exudes death and disease.
Here's
Yes, this is Francine. Francine is a hag, and her,
Very nice.
but it's what she is. She comes from the plane of water.
What if she called herself something different than a hag? That's
Her title is Dreadfell Hag.
maybe someone gave that to her and she didn't want it. I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. She seems pretty happy with it.
Yeah, she does.
We also have the dilapidated dormitorium, which is where we are now. They love alliteration, which is very typical witchy. The grotesque specimen.
Ah, there she go. I'll follow her.
Let's see.
Alrighty.
The haphazard hideaway. Come on.
We're going?
Oops, we have friends. That's okay.
Yeah, she does that thing where she like makes it so you don't target her.
Yeah.
That's why AoE's. All he's doing it again.
She's taken off. She's trying to hide in her cauldron. Her cauldron is not very good at being hidden.
No, it's a little bit large.
Like Morge?
Yes. L-O-R-G.
Kiki and I also play pirates. We play boats. And have a lot of fun doing that. And Kiki is Lorge Morge. I wish I had that picture to show that.
Oh yeah, it will be on the 19th next month. Will be National Talk Like a Pirate.
Excellent. There's your robe. You can have it.
No way, really?
Yeah. You can get it again.
He's so super freaking cute. Oh my god.
Of course.
I need that.
But yes, Francine comes from she is a creature from the plane of water, and that's kind of important as well. Or at least in my opinion.
Yes, give me the resolve I need. Yeah, good.
And this place is just creepy. I wish they had the budget now that they used to have in the past, so that they could implement like the full-on voice overs that they used to and stuff like that.
They can hire me. I can like do 5 voices maybe. Hello, it is me, wretched Francie, the hag. I'm not very nice. Finch better drop my broom. That's what I want.
Yes. Did you see the for those of you who don't know, if you do the Heroic 2 last name of Vasty Deep, it actually drops a pentagram mount, and I want that.
Stork said.
It's so beautiful. I'm so excited by it. There's our shiny.
Hello, best part of the entire zone right here.
And the our BioShock.
The apartment buildings are hilarious. They just like thinking of like giant structures.
I asked Kathiel, I'm like, are we ever gonna see more of that? And he's like, I don't put anything off the table. And I'm like,
I mean,
you are just as vague as it would be gorgeous.
it would be pre-made player housing, you know? I just love it. I love it. It's beautiful, and it'd be cool to see the shark from the other side, you know?
It sounds like you want us to break on through to the other side.
Break on through to the other side. Yeah.
All right. So let me go to some of my other notes that I had. Also, from the story that we got, as we listened to the story, we got some big hints there. I don't know who picked up what of them. But, for instance, we know where at least some of the Dreadfell Coven come from. In the story, we hear that
the mirror.
Oh.
The cursed mirror.
Oh, that's the weekly one. Yep. I was like, wait, I don't see it. Oh, right, I already did the weekly. We see sands. So she's brushing the sands off from her robe. She talks about dodging the sky gazers. So, does anybody know who the sky gazers are?
The beholders that have like all the eye tentacles.
Nope.
What? No.
The sky gazers are the police of Majdul. They're the ones who fly on the carpets up above your head.
I was thinking eye gazers. But that's awesome. Those are jerks, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
And the last hint that we get is the burning sands. She says that she braved the burning sands. And the burning sands is a point of interest that you will find in the Pillars of Flame at the northernmost point of the map. So we know that there is a heavy concentration of the Dreadfell in Majdul, which makes sense because Majdul is a heavy population of humans, right? And beyond that, it's more of an amoral location, right, of humanity. I guess.
Also, where the Knights of the Dead originated too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Necromancy.
Yes. Yes. All right, Victor. Time to die. So we also, as we are dealing here, we get the Vodlax, right? Like I mentioned. We also have carrion creatures. We have abhorrent creatures. We have werewolves. So that, kind of leads me to think that we might get a little bit more about what's going on with some of the people who were conspicuously absent, like Serena Siltor, or how Terrace Thule, we never saw anything happen to her, even though as she became a tenant of hate. And there's a lot about hate in general. So is Lannisterville really dead? I'm the person, by the way, who never ever thinks Lannisterville is dead, because I'm just going to say that I have been right every time when I've said that she's not dead, because she hasn't been. So I don't think that she's dead because she never dies.
I promise I will never die. That's an upgrade. Sexy paints.
Yeah, you take anything. You won't.
Yeah, I just think
I'm going to go pick up the book that I forgot to pick up.
eventually she'll have the resolve.
Well, considering she hasn't been through the zone yet.
Yeah.
Their familiars are also interesting. So as we look around here, we want to look at the different NPCs that we see. This plasmatic parasite also looks a whole lot like things that we see underwater. And if we remember, when you first came into the Vasty Deep, and we did our epics the first time around, we had to do, the Sella. And we dealt with the Naiads. And the Naiads were from another realm, originally. So, like we have the Akashic and we deal with portals in different realms, the Naiads were from another realm. And we find that information out when we are on the island of Mara, and when you're doing, the Mystic Lake and those places, as we deal with the original Tannin, which was the original City of Knowledge, which is where presumably Zebaruk was from before he became a god. Also, for those of you who may not know, if you kill the NPCs on the 4 sides, you lose almost all the trash, and you don't have to kill all the trash. Another thing that happens is going to happen to Kiki in a minute here when she finds... You're looking for the blue stick. Although I shouldn't say that to you because you're colorblind. That's another thing. Another way that Kiki is amazing is that she is an artist who is colorblind. And she does phenomenal with color in spite of being colorblind. She's found ways to work around it that are just astonishing to me.
Memorize the hexadecimal codes and also the RGB slider, and it's not that bad, but yeah, you find ways to cheat.
So there's an item in here that we click, and you click it for the weekly quest, and it... No, you... Yes, that one. But I'm looking for the blue stick with the skull at the top. Yeah, it should be around here for you somewhere, because that's part of the weekly.
I did find the shinny. There you go.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. And that's that. Come on.
I was talking about the Lugine lycanthropes earlier. We find out about them with the unkempt wood. Nestled in ancient mystery and untold secrecy, within the topmost regions of the underfoot, beneath the unkempt woods, resides a mystic place known as the Valley of Dawn. This haven of the wildling beast folk was constructed in the unknown past and concealed from the keepers of Norath's history by the blessings of chance. The Valley of the Dawn was constructed before the time of man, perhaps even before the time of the elves. The bestial folk, known as the tribes of Dawn and Moon, took haven on the surface of Norath, comfortable and nestled within the confines of the dank, dark, and strangely beautiful redwood forest, now known as the Unkempt Woods. As the solar and lunar tribes established themselves as fierce warriors and guardians of the natural world that they revere as sacred above all else, the tribes built the Valley of the Dawn, a complex and beautiful subterranean citadel dedicated to the laws of the wild that these beings protected.
Please, Mimic, don't get me. I don't see the super stick.
Okay. Maybe it was for the other quest. But the stick basically teleports you into a different realm. Oh. Thank you for rating me. Very, very much. I appreciate it. I got a little sound.
Raid party of 2. Raid party of 2.
Hell yeah.
Ready.
Thank you very much. Also, see here, she says, the search is nearly done. What's left your death. All for fun. Hee hee hee. So they're still searching for stuff, and we have prevented them from finding whatever it is. We don't know what it is, but we've prevented them. So, within the first era of man, when great civilizations and cultures were still in the far distance of time, a nomadic tribe of humans stumbled upon the redwood forest. The tribes of the Dawn and Moon were curious, although they did not interfere with the humans' initial presence. You're fine. It's this way.
Over here.
Oh, excellent.
Come here, Bobola. There you go. Alright, now you're positive. Now you're positively dead.
Now you die. And now I shed all my, dissonance, and I can just pew-pew her until I want to. Cure again.
I like that my melee attack, it just bonks her on the head with a stick.
She's gotten bonked. Alright, she's negative. So, and he's way over there. Let's go this way. You can also transform them from positive to negative, but it is a pain, and I don't do it usually.
Yeah. There we go.
Excellent. When the humans had shown themselves to be intelligent beings that wished for nothing other than their own survival, the tribes approached the humans. It was the Ginja that the humans first encountered, the earth sign behemoths who represented the side of life and creation within the cycle of nature, and who comprised the tribe of Dawn. The gentle, although wary Ginja interacted with the human tribe over the course of a single year, and in that time, the Genja lent their knowledge and beliefs to the curious and eager humans.
Positive.
All right, there is a negative over here. There's many negative over here.
That would be a positive Pete, not a negative Nelly.
But it's so easy to be a negative Nelly.
Yeah, it is.
No, I didn't mean to target that. I meant to target her. So, again, we've got a lot of information that suggests that we might see... those, by the way, are referring to Ahaye, and I am probably butchering her name, the Matron of Dawn, and Drenal. These are the spirit deities. And we met Sateb Malni. We met Sateb Malni in Rain of Shadows.
I'm taking that for Schnibbles, but
Yeah.
oh my god, it looks so dumb on my tongue. Like I can't express to you how dumb it looks.
Well, I'm looking forward to the dumbness.
I'm not. Oh god. Let's see here.
I feel like there should be a third book usually in here. Because I think the rune was for the weekly.
Found my rune like over here.
This is the real boss, by the way, of the zone, is finding all the different things for the quest. Finding all our arcane artifacts.
Bandit boots.
Okay, I'm coming to look.
What did I need on that? I don't understand what's going on.
Because you needed it. You needed it.
You need them boots.
Did you see them shoes? They were great.
Oh, the one I missed is going to be in the library. I missed a book in the library, is where it is.
Oh, we go library.
We'll backtrack after we kill the last named. I'm not going to make everybody sit here and stream while I...
Yeah.
Why I sit here and search for that. Then we have the Lugine, the wolf-like creatures that embodied destruction, death, and inherent chaos of the wild, and who comprised the tribe of the lunar tribe of the moon, never did show themselves at that historic moment, despite their shared curiosity with their Ursine brothers. And here's the Kruer. Again, different creatures. And I like to believe that they're just basically beings that have had their skin all ripped off, and that's what the experimental skin is.
Those are my favorite kinds of experiments.
Where you just, skin things alive.
Surprising amount of confessions gotten that way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they gotta be experts at something, right?
It works.
So that's where we get the Lugine. The Lugine were... It kind of hints that maybe they were underneath the surface. and so maybe there might be a tie, but we definitely see physiological differences between the werewolves that we see here that the Vodlak are able to call upon and the werewolves that are, for instance, out in the Loping Plains, right? That where there are two tribes. It is interesting to note, though, that parallel, because we have the Dreadfell Coven being, creatures who are looking for artifacts, and the Freethinkers, which are also werewolves, are also looking for different artifacts, and that's how we fight them. Slashing. Let me pop back over to my chats. Thank you again, Nisi. Does anybody have questions so far? Probably not. It's all pretty straightforward up to this point, but it never hurts. Let me check my Discord just in case anybody's sending me messages. All right. Poison is right here. Which thankfully they were nice and kind and labeled them for the colorblind.
For real.
Good job, Daybreak. We appreciate it. Max Preach.
You have no idea.
I do, because you are my friend. So. Heat. Right here. This creature also looks very similar when we're talking about different hate things. This creature looks also very similar to basically the avatar that Lance Tiville summons for herself. Oh my goodness. I'm forgetting his name right now. He's in, the Altar of Malice. We fight him, and you have to have at least 4 groups. You don't have to have 4 groups of people, but you have to make a raid with 4 separate people. At least 4 separate people. You can't solo it. Unless you have 4 accounts, which, more power to you. If that's your thing. There you go. Yes, Construct of Malice. Thank you, Zuko. Thank you. It looks almost exactly like the Construct of Malice. Back there.
Alright, let's go to the live Bibby and get you your thing. Also, was there an extra shiny, or is that like...
There could have been. I have not used my clicky to find shinies. There usually are. There's usually one upstairs.
I'll find it. Oh, there's 2.
Yeah.
There is 2 shiny. There's 1. And there's 2.
Mini shiny.
What the heck? That was right back there. Why didn't I see it? Oh, it's between the crates. Cheeky monkeys.
The shiny? Yeah. I've completed all the shinies in here now. Yay. Aha, I found the book. It's in the dormitories in the bed.
Well, let's take a look. Go with... Oh, wait, that's back.
Yeah. Opposite direction. I'm sitting right there because you probably need it too.
Yeah, probably.
So let me pop back to my notes. And keep in mind, I do a mix of physical and digital notes. So, like I said, we know that there's lycanthropy. We know that they're humans, hags, and half-elves. And we notice, if you noticed, a lot of their familiars were water-based familiars. Yeah, it's in this room back here. There are the Nidarians, which are the squid-like creatures. There are the frogs, right? Do you see it?
Yeah, I clicked it. It says I'm on also horrible baubles and pandemonium.
That is the weekly.
Feel drawn to a magical place within these.
That's, yeah, that's the, speaking of, here, give me just a second. I will send you the image that you're looking for. Because I know.
There's also like another powerful artifact.
It's the first one. So I believe the first one this week was, it wasn't a sword. What was it? I had written it down. Let me copy that and paste this into Discord for you. Kroll is teasing me for fighting Negrovska while reading lore. He says that she deserves my full attention. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. She is totally not worth my full attention. She was worth my full attention, like, a few times. But right now, you guys deserve my full attention. You're worth more.
That was in the was that in the lab area?
That is always in the lab area. And also, if you do the quests together, they're usually like the same days. You will find the same items, maybe not in the exact same room, but in the same general location. That's useful if you have people who have trouble seeing some of these things. So I try to.
They're making them a little more noticeable.
Give me 1 second and I will find for you where I found them. I posted it yesterday in one of the chats that I'm in, one of my Discords. The globe. There was a globe. Did you find a globe sitting around in one of these rooms?
No.
I think that was my weekly this week, was a globe around like one of the entrance to the hag rooms.
I might have, because I did complete one, but I still have one artifact left on the other, and then I feel it drawn to a magical place within these halls. I should find it.
The magical place is the soul stick, and then the globe would have looked like this, and I will link it to you as well. And then it might have been, the other thing it could have been would have been a sword on a box, which would have been towards the entrance. And those are tricky, especially for the shorter races.
Everything's harder for us because we're cute. Please don't be a mimic. Please don't be a mimic. I'm not in the mood for that.
If there's a mimic, I'll come rescue you. Okay.
So I don't see that super stick at all.
Maybe it's not down there for you?
Where else would the super stick
All right. I've got queued up. So I talked about the burning seas, right? Let me pop this video or this image up on screen. Okay, so this is a map of Norath right here. And this is comes from the game. This is from the globe that you can get from High Pass, I want to say. If you flatten that out, and then I've added all the labels to it. This is that map.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. So I'm going to zoom it a little bit as we sit here. So we have a continent over here, and I'm not sure what it is, but it's presumably the remnants of Otis, because when you line it up with Otis, they line up, and then you can see some kind of spider web kind of cracks or lightning cracks on the side. Those line up with Otis and Ultera. You found it?
Very excited.
So when they talk about the place in row, let's see, did I remember to bring that image in? I did not. Give me 1 second and I will pop that image for everybody so you guys can see. But basically well, we'll do it this way. The point of interest for that, let me hide this picture. On the map, when you go to the Deserts of Roe, and you look at the Pillars of Flame, that point of interest is up here on the map. The Burning Seas, see it? It's right here, all the way at the top. So that tells us where they were at. They were at this, northernmost section of the island, or of Roe. And let's put this image back. So we know that they were right in here, at the northern image of Roe. We know that the Lugine are involved. We know that there's lots of undeath. And while you're looking for that, by the way, I'm going to pop out real quick.
I finally got it.
Okay, awesome.
I'm gonna leave too.
Actually, I'm going to go the other way because it's quicker than going to run past the...
Didn't drag anything.
Yes.
Chaotic leech, aurora of decay.
Yes.
Composed dragon exudes death and disease from which its glass coffin cannot restrain.
Yeah.
I love that dragon.
We know that the plane of water, something about the plane of water is involved because they have lots of stuff about the plane of water. Now my quest is turned in and I got another useless cloak. So while I'm here, let's see what time it is in game. It's 7:15. They might be out.
Woo! Shadowed ethereal tracker. Coin of the Cabal. Vast easy treasures. Many status. Clairvoyant silver. That's good.
So the lyric here are the werewolves who chose not to follow Mayang. And it's too early at night for them, apparently, so they haven't transformed. But they transformed.
Not have a thirst.
Yes. But they transform into a different werewolf, which I will try to get back up. So in the producer's letter, we also got an image. This is the image that we got as the hint. We got the pygmies, and we got these little dinosaurs, right? So we know that we're getting dinosaurs. That looks kind of jungly. We know that we are going to have, it's probably related to somewhere that is north of the Deserts of Roe. We know that there's a keen interest in undeath. And I'm going to take the long way around because this character hasn't done... She won't be able to travel. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to switch characters. Because this character has not done the quest lines and so can't go everywhere that I want her to go. Sorry. I have a bad case of altitis.
Girls? Oh, I do too.
So, let's see. Let's unhide that one and hide this one. While we switch characters. So they had to go across the burning seas, which is above Row, and I keep forgetting that you guys probably don't see my hand there. But it's the northern tip of Row, and they went all the way to Fador. Now we don't know why they went to Somborn Village. That's a pretty big question to me, is why Somborn Village? Why is that the place that we want them to depart from? Right? What is special about Somborn Village? And this is where some of the other hints come in. So one of the other hints is, does anybody remember how they opened the portal to Ultera? What they used? Anybody? I have to remember there's a little bit of a delay, so I try to give a little bit of time.
Oh, a sick cow. What did it kill? Dead cow.
They said it's the rune of Envar. And that is significant. Oh, even D does not. The rune of Envar, if you guys remember, if you paid attention to my stream on the Julos, Envar is the tower that in old EverQuest was in, it was called the Tower of Rot. It was the Tower of Vul before the Tower of Vul moved. The Tower of Vul was the void anchor, and that void anchor moved further into the Firat. Let me see if I can pop up a map to give you guys an idea. And this is one that's pretty significant. Envar is known for undead and the Dead Hills. It's known for the Jal Wraith in EQ Online Adventures. And I am looking for the map right now. And still switching characters. There we go. We'll go big map wipe. Okay. Come on. Let me drag it like I want it. Here we go. So that would have been right here. And you can see the tower of kind of towards this bottom side near the Buried Sea. And the Dead Hills. And you have the Green Blood River. That would have been where Envar / the Tower of Rot and the Tower of Vul were, and we know that because we are told that both between EQ1 and EQ2. So they used a rune from that to open the portal to Ultera. I'm assuming they were able to do that because Ultera is located in the Void. Or not in the Void, excuse me. Ultera is the in-between zone. It's the in-between location that we use to travel through when we teleport. But Otis and what's left of Otis in the Vasty Deep are locked in that location in Ultera. They actually didn't get destroyed because there's a pull between the void and between the underfoot, right? So you have this confluence of influences. You have the void and you have the underfoot, and you have Ultera, and they're trapping it there. So that's how I'm assuming they use the Invar rune as well. But that's significant. And as we talk about the underfoot, I was reading about the unkempt wood and the different the tribes of the dawn and the tribes of the moon, which is the spirit deities. The underfoot had 2 races of werewolf, and those were the Wurine, and their goddess was Wuria. But they were also, it also sounds like from that same story that there were also Drenalian werewolves. And the Wurine werewolves are the ones that we see in Loping Plains. Is it late enough night yet to show? Are you still there, Kiki?
You say that just as I'm teleporting out.
So no, you're not there.
No, just seriously just went to Freeport. Okay.
No worries. I'll pop over and check.
Satisfied when I'll be right back.
And when we talk about, so one of the things to do is to kind of talk about and discuss the history of Loping Plains, because we're trying to figure out why Loping Plains. Well, Loping Plains is known for having multiple were creatures. They had the Blood Moon tribe of the were orcs. That this comes from EverQuest. And then long ago, the Loping Plains were a thriving habitat for a large variety of Tunar's creations. They have since become cursed and twisted by the influence of dark powers. From the south, the dark forces of the Blood Moon tribe creep out from Blood Moon Keep, threatening to consume the land, while the curse of an angry god pulses from the northern coast and the Hills of Shade. I don't believe ever find out exactly what that curse is. I could be wrong, though. We know that Blood Moon Keep was once an elegant elven city. It was destroyed by the forces of Mayong many, many years ago, and was claimed by the Blood Moon Orcs as their fortress. There is a goblin stronghold that was out here, and you can see this if you are venturing around Loping Plains and you were ever uncertain if this was true. You can see these different forces here, and the histories of them. And then there are the Fang Breakers. In EQ1, once a society of werewolf hunters, the Fang Breakers have expanded their scope and now hunt wares, cursed spirits, and any other monster that preys upon normal folk. I think they would have probably become the Free Thinkers. And then you have the Shadowmane werewolves. They feel responsible for the spread of the were-orcs and have set up a camp to try and help rid Norath of this new scourge. They have an uneasy alliance with the Fang Breakers, so I think that that's became kind of the Free Thinkers. And yes, it is late enough, so let me pop this map out of the way so you guys aren't staring at it, and show you why I say the werewolves are different. So see, this is the difference. These werewolves look quite a bit different than the Lugine werewolves that we saw in the instance, right? Even if their eyes do glow, it's a red glow. And these would be considered half human, half wolf, hybrid creations, and for them it's a curse. Also, look, this kind of reminds me of the bones, with things.
You split the map up.
It shouldn't be up.
Oh, no, it went away. I forgot.
Yeah, it's a delay. You hear stuff. It is. It's magic.
Magic, I ain't gotta explain.
And then you have the vampires. But there's definitely a lot of history between Mayong and the werewolves as a whole, because the Werines had a civil war, and some of the werewolves ended up serving Mayong, so he brought them here. He brought them out from the Underdark, and the Shadowmanes serve him here in some of the remains of them. They would be the Aran that we have versus the Lyrak. Those are the two factions that we see in Norath right now. And let's see. We are going to some other notes. Some other notes, I just recently watched an EQOA video that was super interesting about and they cover the expansion that never came out for EQOA. And it actually goes into the Underfoot. And there's some interesting things there too, because we find out that there was supposed to be like troglodyte warrens and an ancient dark elf city, and different evil ruins and a fungal forest. And there were, I believe, supposed to be different werewolves there as well. So there's lots of that kind of interesting things. And we've got a Mind Flayer colony, and that's another thing, is that we keep seeing the infestation of different mental creatures, mind-controlling creatures, and we don't know what's going on with them. But all of that is to say, I think we're going to find more islands. That's where I believe we're going with the expansion. I think we're going to probably go... Let me pop my image right back. So we only got some of the Isles of Refuge. We know that there are more islands than are there. We have the image that comes from the pen and paper that I have shown a whole lot. I can throw it up on screen if somebody wants me to. But it shows several more islands in that picture than the Isle of Refuge that we saw, or the islands that we saw in the Phantom Sea and Tranquil Sea. That is where there was a heavy influence of hate and fear and Thulians. And I specifically believe that it's going to be some of those islands that might have been near Otis. Otis has an area called in EQ1 called the Buried Sea. And you go there and there are a bunch of different islands. So I'm going to read you a little bit of lore that Valen teased about some of the islands that we still didn't know about. And he left a lot of blanks. The Isle of the Dead. Long ago, in secrecy, the blank placed the crypts of the most evil mortals of the time on this island. The island appears as a rocky island surrounded by jagged rocks. The top-down view of the island is that of a skull. Massive stone totems were placed on the shoreline to ward away the curious and keep in any evil spirits. There is an ancient mortuary and tomb for the 5 blank and blank. A small temple was eventually built on the island. This temple hides the blank. The entrance is sealed by magic placed upon a massive stone disc that must be rolled aside before one can gain entry. There is one long passage that tells the story of an island through images. There is a center chamber with blank. There is blank, and in the middle that is used to blank. There are many blank in blank. Each passage tells the history of the vile acts committed by the mortal whose tomb lies at the end of the passage. Many blank guard the inside of this tomb. The top side of this island is guarded by evil itself, evil specters and apparitions to repel any who wish to gain entry to the tombs. There are numerous islands located in the Shattered Lands. Not all of these islands will be presented in game, but we know they are there. One of these islands happens to contain a chunk of forest land known as the Unkempt Woods. The Farseas Trading Company believes that a portion of that woodlands is what forms the island that they call the Forbidden Forest. The cliffs of this towering isle are nearly impossible to scale. If one were to begin the long climb along the cliffs, they would no doubt encounter one of the many birds of prey that dwell there, many of which are quite large and vicious. So the Isle of the Dead could very easily be where what would have been Highborn or part of Highborn. I've discussed in the past how we were supposed to get Highborn as the game released, and we actually didn't get Highborn. We did not get Highborn because of it was messy and buggy from my understanding. But if you watched my Julos video, and I don't want to kind of go over a lot of that stuff because I know some of the people here did, but in the Julos video I show the Dead Hills from EQ1, and there were known to be the behemoths and these giant bones, and the bones were engraved and things like that. They were also known to be evil kings. That would have been the race that I think Bertoxulus came from, although I'm not positive, but I think Bertoxulus came from the Julos. And your hero, yes. So I think that's where that comes from. And I think that that's two islands, the mention of the Unkempt Woods, right? So the Unkempt Wood and the Forbidden Forest. The other thing is that there is one big society that has been present on Norath that was historically human-centric. And it was a massive continent-spanning society. Anybody know which one it was?
On the Aeronite?
Mm-mm. Nope. Speaking of, I was going to go to my house.
I don't test very well.
I'll give you a hint. We see them on, or we see parts of them both out in Velius. They play a version of it plays a major role in Velius. And hi! It is the Combine Empire. This is my friend Ein, who just got off work. Welcome. You want to introduce yourself?
Why, certainly. I'm Ein. I play +2, and I'm here to join the war stream today.
As long as it doesn't, hey, I've been sober for about 4. Okay.
I mean, if somebody has.
I was either going to go with that introduction or the other introduction.
Anybody who has been, we give much applause to.
Much love.
So the Combine Empire has played a major role, and we have seen startlingly little of it in Velius so far, but there's been hints of it. What happened with Cata Castellum? That is the dark side, what was left of the Combine Empire. What's going on with the vampires of Luckland? And that could be why we're in Loping Plains, right? We know that they're doing something. We know that they're active. We see hints of them. The Vampire Volatalis, or Vampire Volatalis, however it's supposed to be said. And Mayong would be very interested or concerned with other vampires. He's historically shown a very keen awareness of that, and we don't know what they're doing. or where they have been, what actions they have taken. So that could be why we are landing ourselves or landing in Somborn, because Somborn is his village. The other side of it is that Dr. Arcana is like I said, I think he's from the Aetherneer. Let me hide this, and I'm going to the city in the Aetherneer. And I think he's a human of note from history who has come back, and that's why he's a planeswalker. That's why he can go between the planes and not get destroyed. Is because he is a creature, a creature of the Aetherneer, and we find out that people can come back from the Aetherneer on a one-to-one basis. So you can sacrifice somebody else so that you can return. So as we look here, she's moving too much.
Time for Kiki to get her husband back.
If you notice, you see how these guys have this, like, foggy kind of display that goes across their skin there. You can see it with every humanoid that is here. Here's another human who's going to giggle at me. But you can see how it gives this glow that just kind of crosses across their skin. Let's go find somebody who's not going to sit there and emote consistently. Even a dark elf. See how it just... It's like a fog. And this is consistent with the Aetherneer. With creatures and beings from the Aetherneer. They all have this look. Except for I don't believe the Lugine do.
Oh, are you going to show everyone Rihanna Vi?
Oh, I guess I could. I hate her, though. I love to hate her. She's Firiona Vi.
Not sorry.
So this is also notable if he's from the Aetherneer and they're using undead energy. This is Loping Plains. This is Somborn Village, right? It is the exact same place. That's Drenal Steward. Where's...
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been here for this expansion.
Yeah. This is Loping Plains. The village we go to in Opal Plains is Loping Plains. And it is, in fact, I think this guy right here is probably an Edol. And I think that because of his eyes. He's got the angular eyes and they're black, which is a symptom that you see with the Edol. Which is the race that Mayong Mistmore is. And Mayong would definitely be interested in things that could bring people back from the dead. Because he misses his wife. See, and here's an erudite, an old school erudite, and that's not what Dr. Arcana looks like, at all. He's got the glow, but he doesn't look like that, and he doesn't look like the humans exactly either, though. He's got like a very blue skin. There's another elf, looking all creepy. Where is Firiona? She's in one of these buildings. I don't know. I don't like her, so I don't usually pay attention to her. Also, it's been a while. No, I have to now. I have to.
Yeah, it's just chilling. It's like, yep, I'm dead alright.
And she's trying to figure out why she's dead. Because Firiona is the champion of balance. She's supposed to help keep Norath balanced. And Norath is imbalanced. Najina, in fact, threw us even more out of balance. And she tells us, even when we finish that expansion with her, she tells us that what she did can't be undone. And so is Norath really balanced again, is the question. And I think the answer is no. Where is she? Now I feel foolish. Because I feel like I should just be seeing her somewhere. And then I've run in the same circle over and over again and not seeing her. Is it this zone? Or is it the other one that she's in? She is in... History of Steward, though. As we saved the Aetherneer. I'm going to actually pop up EQ1 since I can't find her. And take you guys through the Buried Sea. And see, so you can see some of it. And why I think that that might be where we're going specifically. As opposed to just, you know, another island. I think that we're probably going to see maybe some of Highborn. Because that's the Invar rune. And because of the, you know, the bones and everything and the Island of the Dead. That would have been what of Invar was left. Let's do this. There we go. So I am in the Buried Sea right now. And it's off the Barren Coast. So you go through the Barren Coast. And straight in the middle of the Barren Sea is the remnants of the Combine Empire on Norath. They had a city here. And it's where Emperor Kata was actually hidden. He was never ever hidden on the moon. It was just a diversion upon a diversion. So Emperor Kata was hidden in stasis here in the Buried Sea. So, yes. So a continuation of the story of Lucklin that could include some of those elements of Lucklin that we haven't seen yet and continue to tell the same story could have us come back to Norath because the Combine Empire would have still been on Norath. Now, this is after the split, and a lot of people don't consider that canon, but it's still a possibility. The other thing that makes me think that that's true is, look, this is very tropical, right? So the producer's letter had a tropical village, or a tropical area with the pygmies, and if we come over here, look at that raptor. Doesn't that look a lot like an older version of the dinosaurs? If it'll ever stop, you know what? We'll make it stop.
Look at him. He's having a great time. He's
No.
just happy to be here.
Now he's not. Now he's not going anywhere. Right? If we look at this image right here, I know I don't have anything covering up that text, but that's okay. Here, we'll just do that. There we go. Let me see, where is the producer's letter image? So see, I see a lot of similarities in between this, you know, this old school raptor or terror raptor and the raptor that the pygmy is riding. The dinosaurs that the pygmy is riding. And we actually get some information in the lore as part of the Buried Sea. And give me just 1 second and I will pull it up and read that to you guys as well. Thuliasaur Island. This is an island out in the ocean near the Buried Sea. It is a lost, isolated tropical jungle full of prehistoric creatures, giants, dinosaurs, and a lost tribe of lizardmen. This was the original home of the Drogmore, which was a mount we got in EQ1. Aside from the occasional pirate ship that comes by to pick up Drogmores and sell them in Gunthak as mounts, they don't have much contact with the outside world. Even the lizardmen here who built this temple to Kazakh Thule have forgotten who their god is. That sounds a whole lot like the Aluthoans, by the way. And we encountered them in the rest of the the islands of refugee. Nimbler and then invis. This tropical jungle forest has been untouched by outside influence for several hundred years, which has allowed the land to maintain its primal atmosphere. There are 5 factions in play on the island. And let me get up in the air and see if I can get to them. I think I'm not technically in that island. They're around here somewhere. The dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were the first to rule on this island. They may have been deposited by flying dragons who wanted to ensure their primitive cousins could have a land that they would be safe to develop in. The great beasts roam the central and northwestern sections of the island. They tend to their eggs, hunt for food, and drink water at the lakes, rivers, and ponds. They've begun to win their battles against the lizardmen tribe, so it is rare they fight anymore, as the lizardmen primarily stay in their temples now. The dinosaurs are mostly indifferent to the aviacs and are non-confrontational towards the forest giants. Trying to remember, are those guys... It has been a while since I played in this expansion and ran around. I don't think that this is this island. I think this island would have been the island, by the way, that we got in EQ2. Because see, there's the giant volcano. And remember, there was a giant volcano that was out that the Aluthoans were at.
So, I think that you might be showing something that isn't going up on the stream screen.
There's a delay. I got.
Oh no, I did forget to hide the
Yeah.
the producer's letter.
Little dino dude.
There.
Yeah.
We're,
So
we're back now.
there we go. There's a the giant volcano. And it's very tropical. Oh, and there's a flying fish going crashing to the ground.
Basically, next expansion is the swimsuit episode of EverQuest.
Maybe.
Well, one thing also that might thematically support your theory is that the Combine Empire is the empire of light, isn't it? And if it's going to be juxtaposed with the shadows of the movement, it would make sense.
It was located in the dark. The remnants of the Combine Empire were located on the dark side of the moon, but they were the actual good side of the faction. And I'm sorry, it takes forever to run between these islands. But they were the good side in Cata Castellum. So that's where they were, democratic. They recognized the rights of everybody. They didn't judge people based on race. They didn't do what Saru did and mind control their entire population. Things like that. So here are the Thale-U lizardmen. The lizardmen, a creation of Khazak-Thul, were the second race to make its way to the island. Khazak-Thul set his creations loose in swamps and jungles throughout Norath. This island happens to be one such location. The Thale-U grew smarter over several generations, built grand temples, and began to conquer the dinosaurs. Within the last 200 years, the tribe has begun losing their battles against the dinosaurs, and the extent of their territory has begun to recede. Ruins of lizardmen statues and very small pieces of lizardmen architecture can be seen in the Dinosaur Valley, suggesting that at one point their temples extended out into the western clearing as well as the north. The Thale-U have become more reclusive as they lose ground to the great dinosaurs, which they once were winning the fight for territory with. They have no contact with the outside world, so they are unaware what has happened to their god Khazak-Thul. So in EverQuest 1, remember that Khazak-Thul dies. Their outwardly visible daily life revolves around their worship of idols in the temple, hunting for food, and drinking. Then there were the Kromtis forest giants. These were original members of the tribe, were elite scouts of the Ralosian army that marched upon the plane of Earth. When the battle was lost and the curse of the Wraith struck Ralos' creatures, these giants were not spared. Rather than being able to retreat to Kunark, the scouts were caught in a void that deposited them on this island. So they were caught in a void, or some kind of void storm. We also see these creatures. These are the Galigaba. The Galigaba are a tribe of humans, but they are more primitive humans, right? So they are nomadic. They, live in tents, and they forage and hunt. And there's a lot of similarities between them and what we hear of the unkempt druids in the unkempt wood as well. And then there are some Aviacs as well. Also, Combine, the final group to arrive in this island was a band of sailors from the Combine Empire. So that's just one of the islands. The other island, another island they have, is the Cavern of Endless Song. This is a series of submarine caverns with a coral forest, right? So again, you get that tie to the oceans. And I am, like I said, it's been a very long time. I think that's over there. Do I have water breathing on this character? I should. See, it's still a little green. But the Galigaba are out here. And again, it's very, you see the different lizards, you see dinosaurs, you've got ties to water, you've got ties to the Combine Empire, right? Hi, Zans. And thank you whatever don't for the follow, and Zansel for the follow. I missed both of those. I didn't hear the sound. Thank you. Nice to have you.
I swear I need to finish that line art. I'm so sorry. I've been distracted. On your little chibi.
Oh, no. No, you don't. It's fine. It's adorable. Yeah. By the way, when we're talking about supporting our artists, she made that art for me. And it's super cute. She's just like,
Shit, that's unfinished. I don't like unfinished.
Fully colored. The background is PNG, all fancy like.
No, yes.
So we have Pteroraptors, we have an undead tower out here, right? And I think, again, it's not just going to be the buried sea. And let me look at the map so that you guys can see the buried sea, right? So here's the buried sea and the different islands that I was talking about. And there's somebody, oh, my little mercenary running off. The mouth of Praxis. This is hard for you guys to see, isn't it? I wonder if I can zoom in any way. Nope, that doesn't do anything. Let me grab my EQ. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. I wonder. Let's see if it will let me zoom in so you guys can see a little better. No, that doesn't. That just makes it bigger. It doesn't make it any more. Well, hopefully you guys can see a little bit better now.
I can see the text.
So this is off of what's left of Otis. And that would also bring in the Vasty Deep Labs, right? So if we have islands and we have part of the Buried Sea and we have part of the Highborn, we can get all those things. We can also get any aspects of Subtunaria. And I think that we might get some of Subtunaria which is also called the underfoot. The underfoot is usually used in more recent times, even though it's both underfoot, the plane, and underfoot, the location that is underground. But Otis, tied into the underfoot. But it was called Subtunaria originally, but Tunaria referred to the old continent that was Antonica, and all the tunnels under Subtunaria actually collapsed in EQ2, and that's why Antonica fractured and all the islands broke apart, and all the lands broke apart. They broke apart where those tunnels were. So we could see a lot of different pieces of that could come forth. We could find out hints maybe at what happened under there, what's going on with different vampires there. Maybe that's why, because we have the vampire volatalis. But there are also vampires in the underfoot as well. There's the Balikos in the underfoot. And so maybe we'll get some hints there. We have the Shiknar in Luckland, and we have the Kliknar in the underfoot. And if you think about the way that our land was in EQ2 was fractured and damaged, it was broken by these giant shards of the moon that just crashed into the planet and broke things apart. And so those shards could have easily penetrated into the underfoot and allowed creatures from the underfoot to come up. And so I think that that's what ties all the bits and pieces. I think that the Toil and Trouble is a piece that is meant to kind of bridge the gap and to tie some of those little elements in secret ways. That's why we mentioned the Invar rune, because the Invar rune would have been part of Norath, right? And we are currently on an island that I can't do much to because there's a locked door, but it's a pirate island. We also see these turtles, by the way, the snapjaw turtles. We see them on Telosia. I don't think that we're gonna get Telosia, but it's also it's potential. I think that we're looking at pieces of the Burning Sea, and I think that we're looking at probably pieces of the underfoot, and that will tie in the Combine Empire to the dinosaurs that we see the picture of, to the idea of more tropical islands, to vampires, right? Which is why I think we're back in Somborn Village, and to the Void as well, right? Because all of those pieces are tied together, and I think that in terms of plot, what we are going to be doing and facing is figuring out how to maintain the balance. There's been a lot of storyline about that. The other thing is that we have a lot of lost races in the Buried Sea. So the Combine Empire down here, one of the things that they did is they did one of their most evil deeds with the best intentions. They were trying to save races that were going extinct. So they protected, like the Shissar. They protected the Sphinxes. They protected some of the dwarves. There are other creatures that I'm just forgetting right now, but they protected a bunch of, some of the water races that I'm not remembering right now. And I wonder if this is all underneath. But they protected what they considered they were saving and protecting. And like on these islands, you will find the Regrua. And I'm probably butchering how you pronounce that. I butcher a lot of different things, but that's okay. Oh, look. See? Sirens. So the Regrua and the Sirens are here, right? So that would bring in why the hags are there and why they use the. Yeah, no, they are. But they're fish. They gotta lure you in.
So is that what Francine is?
Francine's a hag. She's a sea hag. She's a sea hag. And if you look at some of these structures out here, they kind of resemble some of the structures that we see in the Dead Hills in EQ2. Also, as we come in EQ2, the boat that we take in is like an undead ship. By the way, like it's a shipwreck that has just been come back. It's come back up from the sea, and it's got like spider webs, and it's broken and old, and incredibly creepy. But that's the ship that we take to get to Berry Sea. Take a ship from Otis. So we're gonna sneak our way around this because again, this stuff is green, and unlike in EQ2, for those of you who don't know EQ1, if something is lower level, it will absolutely aggro on you, no matter if it's green or gray or whatever else. That stuff still wants to kill you, unless you're of the right and appropriate faction. I also have a character that I parked at the, where did I park her? I parked her in the Underfoot, near the werewolves that we see that are allied. Well, these are the ones that are fighting against Mayang Mistmore. But I think that that's going to tie everything together. A lot of the threads that we've seen, I think it can bring back potentials as to what's going on with Serena Seltor. Yep, see? There it is. There's the creepy ship. Look at it go. Full of holes. Yeah, it zooms. They don't make us sit on the boat for 40 minutes anymore. It is a very creepy ship.
Reminds me of when we do boats and there's ghost ships.
Yeah. This is the island, I believe, that is our quest island. Aside from going into the Combine Sea. So I think, but the Combine, I got sidetracked, but the Combine basically put all those different races in habitats to preserve them. The Blacktail Pirates. And they kept them trapped there and treated them like a zoo, and some of them decided to start doing experiments on them.
Well, that was
Is that partially the reason you see all those tanks in Vasti Beach?
No, that's well,
good point.
it could be because the Combine Empire predates the Erudites, the existence of Erudites. So the Combine Empire fell, and they actually humans lost all magic, basically. Whatever happened at the end of, when the Combine Empire left Norath, and when we lost them, right when... So, Prexus, actually drowned the city here, because he was so pissed because they were experimenting on the Kedge. That was another one of the races. The Kedge. And he was so mad about it that he actually pulled their city underwater in a giant...
Sunken City?
It is a sunken city, but it's not... It's...
not the Peanuts one, or the Freeport one.
No, it's not. But he he literally opened a massive whirlpool and sucked it in.
So, is the Combine Empire responsible for the Kedge disappearing?
No. The Kedge are responsible for them disappearing. The Kedge and the dwarves are responsible. Essentially, well, the Kedge were limited in how many how many of them could ever be alive. That was part of their dictate by Prexus. Prexus said you can only have so many of you. Another one will be born when one of you dies, right? It's a set number. You're only going to have X many Kedge, and they didn't like that, and they started doing experiments to try to find ways around it. And like that's where you have Kedge abominations, and the Kedge abominations, most of whom were absolutely mad and just went on murdering rampages, and that included attacking people on the surface, which really bothered the dwarves and things like that, and it made them more enemies on the surface than they would have had otherwise. And so they were working on a big experimental spell to try to, fix that, to fix their reproduction issues and to fix the abominations and everything else, when basically the dwarves attacked. And the dwarves were devastating Kedge Keep, basically. And in a last-ditch effort, Finagle Atropos released the spell early, and instead of helping them, reproduce and things like that, it actually rebounded, and it killed what he assumed was all the Kedge. We find out that there are some that were protected behind essentially the wards of the Combine Empire, but it rebounded the spell onto him, killed every remaining Kedge, and put their consciousnesses in his. So he has every Kedge alive in his head, or every Kedge dead that died in his head, basically. They all lived in his head, and that's why he went insane.
As one does.
I think he was all the Kedge.
Yeah, he was the last Kedge and all the Kedge. Yep. Yes. So they are, but Prexus was pissed about it, and he buried the Combine City. And so in EQ1, when we encounter him, this expansion, what we're trying to do is we're trying to help save the city. And then we find out that Lannis Teville is involved, and Firiona Vi gets involved, and it becomes about, the balance and things like that. And it's about putting a stop to their experiments, because they experimented on the Shissar as well. And simultaneously we end up helping save and revive the Emperor Saf Kata. And so we bring him back, the light side of the Combine Empire, the good side of the Combine Empire. And he helps us basically defeat Lannis Teville. But that's what they're doing here. And, that's why there are Combine spires and things like that here. And we work with the Black Sail Pirates, because the pirates were how you found this place and had access to it and things like that. The other thing is that there were prophets here. So does anybody remember the name of the dead god of prophecy? That's okay. No, see what's going to happen is eventually, pro tip for all you guys who are actually, watching me and channel, eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to ask these questions and people are going to get presents if you know the right answer. Like, you will find yourself in possession of a chrono, or you might get a station cash item that you like, or station cast.
Undying affection.
So it's definitely not Drusel Rowe.
Nope, she is not she's the goddess of magic. She is not the god of prophecy. It's relevant in this latest expansion. is part of the signature quest. Also, I don't know why all their eyes are glowing. I think it's probably some weird setting that I have going on right now. The answer is Uktanu. So we have, we're sent after the Uktanu stone. And we go to Uktanu, we get part of a, or rather, the duality gets part of a prophecy from the Uktanu stone. And then we find out that Emperor Sra had the rest of that was the god that he had slayed, was the god of prophecy, and he had taken her powers, and that's why they had the Shisar calendar and knew all this information and had all this access to information, is because it was the god of prophecy. He had the powers of prophecy, and he was essentially a god, because he took the powers of the god, and he was trying to actually attain a true deity status, and that's when he attacked Lucklin. And what we don't know is what happened to the gods of prophecy's powers after we killed Sra. We don't know if Lucklin got them. We don't know if Opal Darkbriar got them. We don't know if they were freed, right? Because we know that sometimes when a god's avatar is killed, like when we killed Anashti Thul back in Sentinel's Fate, that freed her to actually reconstitute herself back on Norath, right? So maybe by killing Uktanu, basically, or Uktanu's essential avatar, her powers are now free out in the environment, because we know her name again, right? And so she could reconstitute herself. So, again, there are prophets. Let me, as I am on this place, let's see. You can see that there are different prophets. There's a whole bunch of prophets here, right? So it could be that we see some of that. And if you remember, a lot of times we get a name of an expansion, and the name of the expansion hints at something in the future. So remember, we had the Plains of Prophecy, right? And Chaos Descending. So we might be seeing some of those kind of chickens, proverbial chickens, come home to roost. No apology needed. And I'm going to show one last thing, and then if anybody has questions, I'll answer questions. But that's about it today. That's kind of the overall lore that I see. I really think that we're going back to the islands, and I think we're going to see some of Highborn. I think there have been a lot of hints at Highborn for a while. And I think that they just teased the Underfoot, and I suspect we'll see some of that too. And I suspect that, again, because the werewolves are involved, and the werewolves come from the Underfoot. Every story of them has them inhabiting at some point the Underfoot. And Mayong used to live in the Underfoot as well, and we're in Somborn Village. So, yeah. I'm checking my messages to see if it...
That is a possibility. Also, dang, gosh, the headpiece is complicated AF.
Yes. Okay, let me, is there anything anybody else wants to see in EQ1 before I log out of EQ1? Nope. Alright, well, I'm gonna hide EQ1, and if you change your mind in the next few minutes, you'll have the opportunity. Here is Dr. Arcana again. And see, he's got that same glowy feel that the creatures in the Ethernair do.
Yes. Because nobody washes with a washcloth in the Etherneer.
No, they're awash in the Etherneer. They're awash in the spiritual energy.
Oh,
Also, I just
They're very unclean. Very
Look-
unclean.
very slimy.
They're not taking their baths.
look at his giant shoulder pouch too. The massive shoulder pouch.
He's a hefty lad. Let me tell you. I want to.
Also, it would also tie into the void because, again, remember the buried sea had void energies. So, and there's a lot of hints at potential void that we've been getting here and there. And the void ties into Ultera as well. All right. Well, since we have no questions, no real comments, you guys are always so quiet. Feel free to ask me questions if there's a topic you'd like me to cover. I don't mind you pointing me in a direction so that I can research. I'm always happy to do any extra research. Thank you for those of you who followed me. I appreciate it. I am getting ever closer to affiliate on Twitch, which is great. If you like art, I encourage you to go look at Kiki Riki's artwork. We're gonna just make her art super big. Look at that. Look at how cute that is. Kiki's so cute. Look at that. Let me find Jabby. Where's Jabby?
Oh man, I love that.
Is it this one? Oh. Here we go.
His name is Abby Bevelbean. She like ham.
This is from D&D. She's so cute. She's so cute. And then let me do my shirt. This is the Anoric shirt. And she has all kinds of different shirts. And she's working on a Nashti right now. Pictures of a Nashti. She also did... she did some art for me, like I mentioned. And I will add those in real quick because I know exactly where those are.
I'm so happy that the print came out good on
Oh yeah, it came out really well. The material is super soft. It's super comfy.
it. Nice.
I absolutely adore it.
Tell them what it says on there.
It says in the Father's name we serve, because we're dark elves. Damn it!
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh, the dark elf.
Suddenly,
Oh, the lore request.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, the super cheap. I'm still working on it.
I mean, that's a complete chibi. Okay, hold on. Let me.
I think I finished the line art. Oh no, that's the one I finished the piece art. Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna see if we can do one of these.
Reflect the lore. From whatever dome.
Yeah, so some stuff on the Relosian Empire. So do you want information on the races that that Ralos Zek made? Or... Oh, see, I have Kiki over there. There she is. She's so cute. Or are you looking for information on what happened after, or all of it? Goblins are interesting, but yeah. So okay, I will put together all of it, and I'm going to try to stream regularly. I'm probably going to try to stick to Fridays around 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. And I might vary it up. I always make announcements in Discord. And you can always join the lore Discord too. If you're not there, give me just 1 second and I will.
Only all the cool people are in there. Just throwing that out there. You want to be cool, you gotta join the Discord.
Let me get an invitation. Well, let me get to the right channel and then get an invitation.
So let's see, what were the races that come up in the Lothian Empire?
A lot. And there's a lot for me to go over because in EQ1 we go back into the past and we fight the Relosian War on the Wraith and deal with Murdunk and all that. So yeah, support Kiki. She's super rad 9000 on Instagram and she's Sparrowhawk Creations on Patreon, and she's awesome. She does little art like this that's on screen, like that little chibi. That chibi took her like no time, and she's like, that's nothing. She does commissions, so if you want a cute little piece of art, what are your rates for a piece of art like that?
For a sketch, I usually do 10. It's just uncolored sketch. Well, just DM me. We'll talk. It's fine. Look, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so it starts at $10. That is 150 billion% worth $10 of your time. Support our content creators. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Well, I wanted to say that we should be supporting you too because you're really amazing and you love this game so much and it just shows in everything that you do. And I appreciate this and I like learning things about the game that I've played for like friggin' 15 years. Been here forever. And I really like this and I think you're amazing. And that's all I have to say about that.
And I have the best part of this game to me, you know, as much as I love the lore and the story, and I actually have fun playing it, and EQ1 for that matter, I actually do have fun playing EQ1, is the connections and the people that we've made. Both of the people who are in this call with me right now know me in real life, and I met them through this game, and they are some of the best people I know.
He gives the best hug. Gonna throw that out there. A lot of power behind the hug. It's awesome. It feels safe.
So, thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you enjoyed kind of a look at a bunch of different things or bringing up stuff. If you find out that you have other questions about something that I didn't cover or things like that, just let me know. I will work on one on the Relosian Empire, and I think I'm going to work on one on the Underfoot as well. Because that's where I'm at in the storyline in EQ1 anyway right now. I'm leveling up in the Underfoot. And then I got really interested because the Underfoot was what they were going to cover in EQOA in the expansion. And so I got a bunch of information about that today that is super fascinating. And I'm going to go ahead and stream. Have a good night.